Welcome back. You're watching DXB Today. Now, it's time to introduce a guest I personally can't wait to learn from. He is an American businessman, a best-selling author, and the co-founder and CEO of RSE Ventures, Matt Higgins. I am honored.
I'm honored to be here.
To be sitting right next to you.
I'm embarrassed. It's my first time.
I can't believe it.
But I'm owning it.
Dubai.
Thank you.
Now, you are a busy man. My God, a Shark Tank guest, yes, obviously, but you know, hanging out with Kim Kardashian, being interviewed by Gary Vee, starting businesses all over the world. What is it that you enjoy most? What has you thriving?
Oh, I love that question. I like tackling complex problems that seem insurmountable and trying to figure out how to unlock it. I gravitate towards complexity. So I'm always building something and breaking something and fixing something.
Okay, what kind of advice does that translate to for someone like me?
Don't gravitate towards complexity.
Okay.
So no, I love entrepreneurs, and I always like figuring out why are they stuck. What's wrong, you know, and I play therapist a lot. Actually, running businesses is like being a glorified therapist. You're always, because it's about humans. Once you have more than 2 people working for you, you have problems. And I like trying to figure out and diagnose, why is this business not scaling? Why is this entrepreneur struggling? So I own a lot of businesses in different areas, and people always say, how are you able to do crypto, or how are you able to do cupcakes with Magnolia Bakery?
And multitask like that.
And multitask and context shifting all the time. But the reality is, whatever the subject matter is, most of the unlocks have to do with people. And how do I figure out how to bring out the best in people?
Well, that's the question I want to ask you, Matt, when it comes to people. Obviously, you've dealt with a lot of business people, entrepreneurs. Is it something you can learn, or is it just a certain mindset that you have? Like, how did you get started with all this?
Yeah, I think it is something you can learn, because I philosophically believe that the greatest unlock in human beings is self-awareness, and you can cultivate self-awareness. And the way you do it is, the Italians have a great phrase, I will not do it in Italian, but it's the fish rots from the head. Meaning that all problems that show up downstream at a retail store, wherever it is, usually start with leadership. And so you want to create cultures where people feel free to be vulnerable. And so I tend to be an oversharer. My whole book, as we'll get into, is oversharing. But you want to model vulnerability so people feel safe to be introspective. So again, back to therapy. A lot of the work I'm doing with founders is figuring out, okay, what's going on? You know? Obviously something's going on in your life, in your head, and usually it's something that they haven't dealt with, so it can be taught.
Tell me about goals and how much of a role that plays in your thinking and when you coach and guide other people as well.
I believe that the joy of living is in the striving, and that people are not happy when they become complacent. And we always want to push the ceiling of our potential and our capacity. So goals are everything for me. I don't know if you feel this, but whenever I accomplish something really hard, I ran a marathon, lost a ton of weight, was so proud of myself for 2 minutes. And then I got depressed. And so I realized it was the training that I loved. It's always the training that we loved. And I think the sooner we accept that, we constantly push the bounds. I'm always doing something hard. I'm always regretting it that I'm doing something hard. And then I'm always happy that I did it. So goals are really important, but I find this with my students at Harvard. They have so much pressure to have it all figured out before they take the first step in being an entrepreneur. And you don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to make the next best decision in the general direction of your ultimate ambition.
My next question, I want to quote one of the sharks. I was scrolling around on my social media. I think it was Mr. Wonderful who said this: if anybody comes up and tells you, do this or that, and you're going to make a lot of money, don't listen to them. So my question is, and this could be a very nice coaching to get on this episode, for those who dream about setting up their own business, what's the best advice to give them for them, especially if they get through a bumpy road and they suddenly give up?
Yeah, it's hard for people to accept this, but we become successful in spite of, not because of. We become successful in spite of all the things that hold us back, imposter syndrome or shame or failure. So the most important rule of business is just survive another day. And that's hard. Now, that doesn't mean do the same thing the next day. What I find when I find a business that's perpetually failing, it's because the founder is not iterating. They're not auditing and saying, okay, why is this not working out? Let me iterate, let me pivot, let me do something different. So persistence blindly applied is a recipe for disaster. Iteration and reflection and doing things different is how things work out. Now, Kevin O'Leary would probably just say, like, you're a disaster. You know, mine's a little more gentle, but you got to mix it up, but survive another day.
With that said, here's a question for you. Do you need help with managing your money? There's an app for that. Watch this.
Hi, my name is Hussam. I'm the founder of Crunch, a money management app that's reshaping the way individuals interact with their financial data. By combining all their accounts, cards, and other asset types into a single dashboard, it provides tools to help you monitor budgets, track your net worth, and unlock personalized insights all in real time. We recognize the frustration many individuals face while managing their finances effectively. Many people struggle with setting budgets, tracking their spending, and setting a long-term financial plan, and they don't know where to start. Crunch is here to simplify this process and provides you with a clearer understanding of your own finances so you can make well-informed decisions and make healthier financial decisions. Since our launch a few months ago, we've exceeded 10,000 downloads, and we've received extremely positive feedback from our users, telling us how the app has helped them in their financial journey. We're also proud to announce that the app currently supports 16 banks in the UAE, and we're bringing more soon. Founding and running a startup comes with its own set of challenges, like setting up the business, hiring the right team, and developing the product. For us, one challenging element was streamlining the feedback we get from our customers and ensuring that their input gets quickly integrated into our product roadmap. We've also worked hard to build trust with our customers, ensuring that we protect their data privacy and we have the highest levels of security on the app. Our aim is to help people understand where and how they're spending their money and to reduce the stress caused by managing their finances. Our goal is to make sure we provide users with the right tools to set their own financial goals and achieve them themselves. Dubai supports startups and offers a thriving ecosystem with many organizations and individuals providing startups with mentorship, guidance, and networking opportunities. Dubai represents innovation and ambition. It's a city that encourages dreams, and it provides you with the right resources and foundation to achieve those dreams. The diversified culture, the welcoming community, and the limitless opportunities that this city has to offer. Probably a run on the beach in the morning or a cycling tour around Qudra, followed by some lunch or dinner with some friends.
Well, there really is an app for everything, and now they can even make you rich. What a great life hack.
Now it is time for the roundup, I should say gentlemen, the daily roundup. How does one generation tackle finances compared to another? Recent research shows us that Gen Z are saving and investing at a relatively earlier age, having grown up during the Great Recession, while I'm a millennial and I think I agree with them being risk averse, hoarding cash rather than making investments. And gentlemen, I feel like you guys would really tell me off for that. I keep saving all my money in the bag, Faddis. I think you're with me.
I do the same thing. Yeah, I'm a millennial as well.
I'm really safe. I mean, what advice do you guys have for people starting up their families, you know, establishing themselves in their career? Come on, I know.
I'll give you the American perspective. I actually think it is a good time to hoard cash right now.
Oh.
Yeah, I think that we are in
Well
the U.S.
done, me.
We're gonna you're doing good.
Thank
Because
you very much.
there are times in life where you do want to hoard cash. You want to be ready for an emergency. So as long as you have 6 months worth of cash, then you're being too safe. But you have to make sure you have emergency reserves.
Okay,
but
so
Matt,
6 months.
Spencer, the thing is, like, I learned from my parents, and they have the boomer mentality, which is save all that money, and they didn't really teach us about what to do with it. So we've done the saving part. How do you approach different investments? Because there's lots of people and lots of voices online that are telling you, invest with me, invest with me. How do you know what to trust?
I think you didn't learn from your parents only because you grew up in an age where you had a device in your hand that you could use. So I think it's really important to understand that you've been fed a lot of information along the way, but there are sound fundamentals that need to be taken care of. And as Matt just said, you've got to get your basics in there, so make sure that the cash is in the bank. You've got to plan for your long term, you've got to plan for your medium term. But my daughters are 21 and 24 years old. They've been investing in crypto for 5 years. And they put some money every single month out of their savings. And that wasn't, they came to me and asked me for advice, and I didn't tell them to do it. They went ahead and did that themselves. But I'm so glad that they did that because they took seriously taking a portion of their money and getting that money working for them. Now, the argument of banks is another one altogether. We need to be clear about this. Low interest rates comparative to inflation means that your money is guaranteed to go down in value if it sits in a bank.
100%.
So it's really important to understand that dynamic, and if inflation is here, interest rates are there, you're guaranteed to lose money. But as Matt says, you need to make sure you've got that buffer. So what you did was wise, but maybe you could be doing better.
But what about the technique? I mean, how do you teach someone how to save? I mean, Matt, for example, I think it was Warren Buffett that came up with a certain formula that 33% is what you save, 33% is something for leisure and fun, and 33% is for expenses. I don't know about the 1%, but I mean, is there a stable formula that you can use to educate people on saving? Because apparently that's the main source of fortune.
I think it's less a formula and more a philosophy. Pay yourself first. The number one asset that a young person has, Gen Z, is time. Warren Buffett talks about the greatest financial principle in the universe is compounding. And just put any amount of money away before you get the latte, you'll be ahead of the game. Time. If you are 18 years old, you have zero excuse to not leave this earth as a millionaire, because all you have to do is discipline yourself and put some money away. So I'm less focused about where and more about that you do it in the first place.
That makes sense. So you help with a lot of businesses. Obviously, you talk to a lot of business people. Are you seeing a difference in the younger generation, people who are between the ages of 21 and 25? Are you seeing something new with the way they handle business versus like the millennials?
I am. It's a post-pandemic phenomenon more than anything else, that they really, not only do they value experiences, they value boundaries more than even money. Maybe that'll change. Maybe we've had good times and are slightly spoiled, but boundaries are way more important. Being able to shut your phone off after 7 o'clock, take the weekends off. I'm seeing that more than ever. I'm not 100% sure it ends well. I think the fact that we have such low unemployment around the world, and I think the fact that some managers are purporting to believe in balance when they really don't. So I have a wait and see approach. But for now, I see a lot of young people say, hey, that's great. I'll skip the promotion. I want to go scuba diving.
I've got two kind of questions in one. One is, how important is it to diversify your investments or assets? And the second part is, do you think becoming an entrepreneur could potentially be for anyone, or again, is it a mindset? Because I'm not a risk taker. I invest in one thing that I understand. I don't do anything else.
Okay.
I'm too scared to risk my money.
All right, great. I'll start with the second one and then go to the first one. Second one, everyone is a risk wanter. You may not feel like you're a risk taker, but when you use those words to describe yourself, you're self-selecting out of ambition because you want risk. I know, I need to be critical. It's a little bit of therapy like we talked about, but on the other side of risk is reward, and so people use that language about themselves. Diversification. I think diversification is the enemy. I have a very contrarian view. I am highly concentrated because when you spend time to get to know something, a stock, a piece of real estate, you know it so well that you can understand its spirit animals and you could track. And a lot of times the advice we give is, oh, diversify. You diversify yourself to oblivion and then you don't get good returns. So I am highly concentrated.
Matt, some excellent advice. And luckily, you've written a whole book filled with advice, and we're going to be talking about that very, very soon. But before we do that, let's check out what's coming up after the break.
Why should we burn the boats? Matt Higgins is staying with us in studio to reveal why we should toss our plan Bs overboard.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.